Inspire, equip, and encourage with King James. But today I'm hosting a guest in this show today. So we're looking forward to encourage. Today we're all on a lockdown, so many people are just shut down in their homes, not able to go anywhere. And I bet you if you're watching me right now, you're probably watching from your home, or maybe you're one of those key workers who have been able to go to work. But if you're one of those businesses that are also considered essential, this also is good for you. So maybe you're watching live now, and if you are doing that, I would like you to send in questions because I'm hosting a business coach, an executive business coach who's also very, very good at giving advices. He's a friend. Simon Teague is his name. And I'm just going to bring him on right now. Simon Teague, why don't you just say hi to everyone? They can see you anyway.
Can they? Okay.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. Hi, how are you doing? I hope you're all safe and well. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you, King, today. Yeah.
Yes. So what we're going to do today is that I have a series of questions to ask Simon in today's show. I've got lots of questions to ask Simon. So if you see me, my eyes going off the screen and all of those things, so bear with me. It's just I've got some questions. Simon is a business coach. He's been helping lots and lots of businesses. Actually, currently in his home, I've been able to just squeeze out. I was hoping I could get him on to prepare this much more longer, but no, he's very, very busy because lots of businesses are struggling right now. Now, I'm a pastor. My name is King James. I lead a church, but I believe my job is to help people, no matter who that kind of person is. It doesn't matter whether you're Christian or non-Christian. As long as you're alive, I'm called to help you. That's my primary role. I live for that. And this today we just want to dedicate today's session for businesses. If you look at my screen, this is live broadcast with for COVID-19 crisis. But today we're focusing on support for business people. That could be anyone at home. Maybe you work even for a company. You want to know some things as well. But even if you don't work for a company, you own your own businesses. This is a good opportunity to call in, or should I say, text in on Facebook, Twitter, on also on Favor House website and also YouTube. Go on those platforms, please send in a question. I've got those questions will go to Simon. I will prioritize your question, but if not, I have some few things already I would like to discuss with Simon Teague today. So, Simon, again, I say welcome to the show. Is there, before we even go to any of the things we've planned to do, is there anything you probably want to, what do you think, first of all, was going on right now? We want to hear your own view.
Yeah, I think what's going on right now is a thing called the House of Change. I've got this model on my wall that talks about the fact that when there's huge change that comes, we go into different rooms. And, it's arguable that we've been sitting in complacency for many years now. And we've suddenly been thrust into the room of initially denial when we denied that this thing even existed or that it would change our lives. And now we've moved across into the room of chaos and confusion. And that's true not only, I believe, at both the government level, but it's true of us in business and with our individual businesses and our supply chains and our clients. And we are sitting in the house of chaos and confusion. And out there right now, many business owners are wondering, what on earth do I do to keep my business alive, to survive this period, but also to be able to come out the other end, especially when there's so much talk globally and forecasting globally that we've just gone over the edge of a cliff in terms of a recession and a downward trend globally in our economies and in our national economy. How do we suddenly trade in very different conditions to what we were trading in only a few weeks ago?
Yeah. And I know as a business coach, I know you, like I said earlier to our guests, you are busy. You are busy right now. I thank you for sparing this 1 hour with us today. But what are the kind of things businesses are asking you right now? And I know there are lots of you are receiving lots of calls,
Yeah.
but I would like to hear first of all what the kind of questions you're getting. Even though I have some few questions myself, and
Okay.
I hope my guests also will ask them questions as well.
Yeah, so just to give it some context, I live in Kent, and I can really speak for Kent businesses. But this will be true nationally. It's just unique to Kent because in Kent right now, the local chamber and the Kent County Council created a helpline for business owners to go through to, and that helpline, as you can understand, has been pretty much inundated with calls. But it's a much better helpline for Kent businesses to go to than the government helpline, which is being flooded with, hundreds of thousands of calls. And so we had 425 calls into the helpline yesterday. And I'm one of a group of entrepreneurs and business owners who have offered to help the chamber in speaking directly with business owners who have put calls in, and maybe their questions and their needs are a little bit more complex
Yeah.
than a small business. And they're coming on this helpline with many questions. The first issue that they want to understand is that the government in the UK have offered £330 billion worth of support for the economy.
Wow.
And some of that money is directed at supporting businesses.
Yeah.
So the most common question is, what support is there for my business financially so
Yeah.
that I can trade through this period?
Yeah.
And the great thing about this is I'm attending a daily briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning with the government, a group of people who are attending the government briefings, and we're getting those briefings firsthand. So we understand exactly what support is available, and we understand exactly how businesses can access that support. And most of the conversations I've had this week, and I must have spoken to 40 or 50 companies this week already, one to one, directly with those directors and business owners,
Yeah.
guiding them and advising them exactly how they can access the support, confirming that they qualify for certain levels of support and not for others. Sadly, some
Yes.
businesses are in real trouble because they fall between the cracks, and they're not going to get all the support that's been published. So it's important to understand where they stand.
All right. That's good. And okay, so those are the things businesses are calling you to ask. Now, we are in a crisis, of course, we know right now, and there's a chance most people, probably some people, not every business is calling you, and I don't think every business is calling even a business coach right now to know what to do. And I think so. I would like us to kind of get into talking about the kind of things businesses should be doing in
Sure.
this session, in this season.
Yes.
I have some few things maybe I want to say because I call it a season. Would you agree that this is a season?
This is definitely a season, and we will come out of this season. The world might be different, but we will definitely go through and we will come out the other end.
Yes. On that point on of season, I've got some few things. Maybe I just would like to maybe what I describe as five characters of a season, and
Yeah,
also 3 points. Maybe I would also like to leave with the people key point. But I will also in these characters, I would like to see what you think about them. Whether even I'm going out of my mind saying these things, or is it true? Because it's important to hear from a very seasoned business coach like you. Um, um, but before probably we go into this um, point on seasons, I would like to um, sh- ask 7 questions. So a understand there's a lot, and we're going to try to squeeze
okay.
it in as much as we can
Wow.
within this hour period that we
Yeah.
have. Now, listen, if you're watching online on Facebook, I can see you watching Claire and Claire Marshall and a few others. If you're watching, feel free to drop in a question that you would like to hear. So Simon is here to answer questions. So it will be an honor to receive your questions and for him to deal with your questions. So anyway, moving on quickly. Now, there's 7 points here, and I hope people can see it on the screen. That I think I shared this with you, but I would like you to explain it further for us. Um, Number 7 steps of I don't know if that can be seen very well on my screen on the screen.
I can't see it on my screen, but that's not to say that. It can't be seen by the
Yeah,
people
that's
watching.
my mistake. I was talking. I should have been remembering to switch about, but anyway, people can see it on my on the screen here. Anyway, so 7.7 steps to protect your business. So those of you watching, sorry, I've been focusing on the content. I forgot about managing the stream as well. Oh, anyway, you learn on the go.
You do.
But
We're all
point,
learning on the go.
yeah, point number one here, it says that business stop, don't stop marketing. Is that something that businesses should consider to not stop marketing? I think people are in lockdown. What should they be doing? Should they be marketing none or not?
Yeah, I think the question I ask, and the question that we're speaking to a lot of business owners at the moment, is to get our mindset into a space where we start thinking about what are the two or three things that we should be doing right now that will pay us back four or fivefold when we come out of the situation. And I'll give you just a very quick example of a young lady I spoke to earlier today who's a hairdresser. She's a mobile hairdresser, so she can't go out and do any of her clients' hair. But the reality is that come April, May, or June, or whenever we come out of it, her clients will be absolutely desperate to get their hair done. I also spoke to a barber's this morning, funnily enough, because I was thinking, if I don't get to the to the barbers in the next, 4, 5, 6 weeks, I'm going to start looking like a caveman. And I think that's true of many business owners.
Yeah.
So we talked about was the fact that there's a really good website that has launched, which is a crowdfunding platform, crowdfunder.co.uk /pay it forward.
Yeah.
And they've created a free platform for businesses to start selling vouchers for their products and services. So that you could register your business, you put your account details in, you create your voucher, and you could be selling vouchers right now. So as a business, you don't have to be sitting on zero income. You could, and then you could be marketing and promoting that as a platform. You don't even need your own website, but you could link it to your own website, your own Facebook. And it's a really good way for those kind of services to be able to start to highlight who they are and what they do, and also access some kind of funds because people might be interested in acquiring those vouchers right now. So I think that's one way, and there are many, many other ways. In particular, marketing through LinkedIn, through Twitter, through Facebook, all the typical social media channels. You know, as we head into a recession, which undoubtedly we will do, businesses will fail, but also some businesses will thrive.
Yeah.
Look, you only have to watch Facebook and see how many yoga coaches are offering free yoga sessions in the mornings, and that kind of thing. And it's putting them in our mind. And those are the kind of people they're marketing right now. Yes, they're giving a free service to us all, and we're hopefully stretching and bending and keeping ourselves in good shape whilst
Yeah.
we sit at home. But it's to me, it's about the entrepreneurial mind is extremely creative.
Yeah.
We've been locked down. Don't stay in lockdown mode.
Yeah.
Start thinking about what could you be doing right now? What is the world going to look like? I spoke to my friend Michael, who runs an office supplies business, and we agreed this morning that one thing that people might be purchasing or want to buy are whiteboards, because more and more people are going to set up a home as office.
Yeah.
Even if they work in London 5 days a week at the moment, when they go back, they're more likely to be working in London 3 days a week and at home 2 days a week. So, what are they going to need as an
Yeah.
office supplies company? How can he support them and start to get in their mind's eye?
Okay.
And so, I think it's full on marketing right now.
Yeah.
Don't sit and do nothing. You've got
Okay.
loads of time for marketing.
That's good. So you heard it from not from me, from Simon. Don't stop marketing if you're doing business. Now, when we're talking up to, I know we're mentioning the word business because Simon is a business coach, but this applies to most of the things we're talking about because I'm a pastor. I apply a business sense in most things in my life as well. So it's important that if you're listening and you're thinking, hang on a minute, but I don't have any business, Take the principles. These are principles we're talking about. So what is it that you're doing? Don't stop now. So push further on that. If you've been studying, aiming to gain a different set of skill, but you are not able to go and do it before, you can do it at home. We watch a lot of Simon. You watch as we see people are getting all creative online these days, which is good. But one of them is, for example, people pouring oil on the kitchen floor and doing and creating their own treadmill. That simply means, imagine if your aim before now is to become fit. Do you stop
Mm,
being fit because the gyms are closed? No, you pour oil on the on,
yeah,
on the floor and get creative. So that's the point here. Don't stop
yeah.
marketing. So let's move to the second point
No,
because we've got lots to
Kim,
cover.
just on that very quick point,
Yeah,
this weekend the weather forecast is for Sunday to be really warm. I mean,
yeah,
they've even said maybe up to 20 degrees. The moment that sun comes out and it starts getting warm, one thing that's going to be flying off the shelves, if you can get hold of it, are swimming pools. I bet if we're all in our gardens and the kids are driving us mad at home, then what great better thing to go out and buy a swimming pool. So if there's anybody out there that sells swimming pools, they should be full on marketing right now as
wow,
much as they can to be getting in our face and telling us that that's where we can buy. And if you're an office supplies company that doesn't sell swimming pools, start selling them. You can get these big rubber ones; they're fantastic.
yeah.
That's the kind of thing that we should be thinking of.
Yes. So let's move on to the second question. Second point I want to ask you on ring fence your customers. What do you think about this? I know the idea maybe is a word not everyone will be familiar with, but it means I think we're talking about is it important now to start keeping in touch with your customers? I know they're on lockdown, you're on lockdown. Is it necessary, or should you just leave them alone to do their, to be by themselves, you be by yourself and wait for the government to call us out who knows when, and then you
Mm,
can now start getting in touch with them. Even though you may not be selling anything to them, for example,
yeah.
if your business is transportation, and ringing your customer wouldn't make sense at the moment because they're not going anywhere. But should you at all? Should you keep in touch with them? What do you
Yeah.
think about that?
Absolutely, you should. There are two types of customer, of course. There's business to business, or there's business to consumer. And either way, if you're business to business, then you need those businesses to survive this period. You don't want all your clients going bust, and then all of a sudden you've got no clients. So if you know that you can access some government support, there's a grant here, a grant there, or you should be sharing that with your whole customer chain and your suppliers, your supply chain. We should be coming together in the form of mastermind groups as much as possible and communities. So your client base is really your community now. What can we do to sustain that community, to support them, to even if you're just sending them an email? Do you know who your top 20 customers are? You should be picking the phone up to them. How are you? Are you okay? Is there anything I can do for you? Even if it means, doing a run to Tesco's or something, it doesn't matter. The
In other
smallest.
words, it's a good time for the. You've been probably selling something, selling a service to your customers before, but this is a good time to give back even more than just your services. That's what you're
Yes.
saying, basically.
Yes, absolutely. Check they're okay, see what you can do to help, offer some free stuff. They'll remember you for it. They'll love you for it.
Yeah.
There was there's a company in Folkestone called Sleeping Giant Media. They're offering free marketing, all sorts of stuff to help their clients for a period. And there's some other companies out there that are offering marketing, but at a reduced amount. And I think if there's anything we can do to be helping each other right now, let's all join together in communities. If you've got clients that are business to consumer, again through social media, what can you be doing to motivate them, inspire them, make sure their well-being is in a good place? Because we're hearing already, and undoubtedly a consequence of lockdown will be people's mental health and well-being. And what
Yes.
can we be doing as businesses to support a positive um, frame of mind and a positive thinking and positive action, as opposed to people, turning to alcohol or turning to other things that are just going to distract them and stop them moving forward and take them down the wrong road.
Yeah, that's good. So let's move on to the third question. Now, before I move on to the third point or question where I'm asking Simon, listen, if you're listening to this, I could see comments coming in. Some people saying this is a great advice. Well done, Kate. That's from KG, and a few others who are watching. Those of you who are watching, feel free to compile your questions. We're going to try and squeeze in some few questions for Simon. Even live, you could ask your question live and interrupt me a little bit, even though I have some few things I wanted to cover with Simon. We've got 1 hour. We're hoping to stop the streaming in by 2 o'clock. Not because I would like to stay longer, but he's so busy. He's got lots of businesses calling him, and I'm not making this up. I had to squeeze him out to just be able to do this stream, or else I wouldn't have been able um, to do this. So let's move on. Simon, third point, while those comments are still coming in, what do you think about that we should not stop? Sorry, my thing is working. Yeah, don't cut price. The advice about not cutting price, is it something? What do you think about this at this period where businesses are going? Does it mean all of a sudden you should change the value of the price value of your service or product you're selling, or should you just add more value instead of cutting down price? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think the price versus value is the question here. And, you know, if you cut your price, you are going to make it very difficult to come out of this with the cash flow and the profits that you need. I mean, ultimately, we've been in a bit of a boom time. Those good companies would have built up a buffer that can get them through this period. Those companies that didn't have that buffer, maybe their price stroke value ratio was incorrect, was, needs looking at. So I think price is something we should always review and we should look at. And, there are some cases where people are just too cheap and they're underpricing themselves and they've made life difficult for themselves. And I think they need to take this moment to reflect and think, do you know what, I do have a greater value than that, and maybe my prices should be higher. But I think the focus of attention right now needs to be on value. What value are we offering? I still want to have clients, and ultimately I still want them to be paying me what they were paying me before.
Yeah.
But right now I'm offering a huge amount of value with free webinars, calls like this. I'm taking lots of calls from business owners. There's no cost to that, no charge to that. I'm offering the value because I'm hoping that they'll remember me. I'm hoping for two things, really. I'm hoping, one, to make a difference, because that's why I'm a coach. My number one goal is that they go away and they thrive, they survive, and it makes a difference. But secondly, I hope that they do remember that, I was there for them when they needed me most. And I think it's about being there for your clients and being there for the people around you when they need you the most. Let's not wallow in our own self-pity here. The best thing we can be doing is helping others. And that can be looking at our prices, maybe, but I think more importantly, thinking about the value that we offer. So maybe we sell something for £25, but now we sell it for £25, but it also includes an extra hour of free support or an extra product or something like that, that you're just creating that additional value.
All right, that's good. That's good advice. Thanks for that. I'm going to move on again. So the point number 4 here is take the money. You could feel guilty if you're a business person now. Imagine if you're trading, because we're talking about some self-employed people or some smaller businesses that are dealing with, that old lady in her home right now, and probably trying to get by, trying to stay away, making sure that she doesn't contact this virus, but she still needs to do business with you. So what do you do? Should you take the money, or is it a good time not to take money at all? So what do you think about that?
Okay. Yeah, so the money comes from a number of areas. First of all, where there is government support available to your business, you should tap into it. Now, most businesses, I would probably say 95% of businesses need this support from government. They absolutely need it. And maybe only 5% don't need it. And they're thinking, well, shall we apply for it or not? At the end of the day, the money is there. Even if you don't need it, apply for it, put it into your business, and go and do some good with that money.
Mm,
You know. But in terms of, like I said at the very beginning, if you can be generating some cash flow right now, then find ways to do that. You
mm.
know, one of the things that we ask at the moment with the calls that are coming in, and I need to phone 30 companies this afternoon, which is not
Wow.
possible. It's just I'm not going to
30
get.
companies.
Yeah, that's just me, and there's eight of us, so there's 242 companies to phone back this afternoon
Wow.
with these kind of queries. And the thing that we're saying to them is, you know, cash is cash is king.
Yeah.
Cash is what's going to get you through this period.
Mm.
You have to hold on
For
to
a
cash.
business, isn't it?
Yeah, for a business and you know for individuals at
Mm.
home, cash is king. The government are saying try not to pay your mortgage. If you've got a landlord, speak to the landlord and try and get at least a month's free or a month half off or something. We all
Mm.
need to take the pain. Let's all take the pain. If we all share the pain together, then we can all get through it together.
Wow.
What we can't have, you know, and the landlord's issue is a massive issue for businesses and for individuals at the moment.
Yeah.
There are some amazing landlords out there who have already proactively contacted their businesses or the people that rent their property and said, listen, I know things are going to get tough for you. I will give you a month of free rent. Let me do what I can. There are
Yeah.
some amazing landlords out there, but there's also a whole nother group of landlords that are saying, listen, you're getting government support, so you just pass it on to me. And the
Mm.
government support is not there to line the pockets of landlords
Yeah.
at the expense of the businesses. Because if those businesses go under, there's going to be a huge amount of properties that
Yeah.
are empty that landlords are not going to get rent for. So I think for all of us together, let's help each other, support each other, generate income where we can, get the support where we can, but also take the pain. We all need to take some pain. Let's share it and help each other out.
I think before we move to the next point, it's important just to stress a little bit what you're talking about, because what you're saying now with the landlord issue is not only just for business people who has stores and landlords they have to pay, but also any human being who lives at home now is in this quarantine, not able to go to work. What's your advice? Because he kind of said it, but I wanted to pause you, but I didn't want to break the flow of your thinking. You kind of
Mm.
say they should not prioritize. Is that what you're saying? They should not prioritize their rent at the moment and all those things, or should they just have a conversation with the landlord and say, when you say cash is king, does that mean they should hold up back a little bit to make sure they have some money to at least stay alive?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's. I think the government have painted a very clear picture. They have made it a legal issue that landlords cannot evict tenants in the next 3 months. The courts are closed. You cannot, as a landlord, take any action whatsoever to evict a tenant for non-payment of rent in the next 3 months. That's the government's stance. But
Yes.
I think at the end of the
Let's
day,
just clarify. That's the government in UK stance, because people are
yes.
watching this from all over the world.
Yeah, yeah. So
But
that's the
let's carry
UK.
on. At least you're giving advice from the perspective of government in UK. Go on.
Yeah, that's the UK position. Having said that, you know we don't want landlords to go under either. So government have said to banks, we want you to defer mortgage payments for 3 months. Don't take any mortgage payments off individuals or off commercial mortgages. We want you to help and support landlords and people who have got mortgages as much as possible. So the support is there for everyone, you know, and but just going back to your point, I'm not saying don't pay your mortgage and
Mm.
don't pay your rent, because ultimately we still owe the mortgage and we will, you know, we have a rent commitment we've signed for. Um, but go and speak to your bank, your mortgage company. Go
Yeah.
and speak to your landlord. Pick up the phone to your landlord. Explain how the difficulties you're facing right now, the challenges that you're facing.
Yeah.
Try and get your landlord to work with you. That you're in it together. That you want to honour your commitments, but frankly, when there's zero money in the economy, how can we possibly do that? And if we could just get a bit of breathing space from our banks and from our landlords, even if it's a month or 2 months, we can, and that money's not ever going to come back again. So we're basically asking for that to be waived. Don't charge me rent for a month, please, because I don't have the money. Then and the landlord's willing to go along with you. The landlord knows after that time he'll have a loyal tenant who will always want to pay the rent. And when we're back to work, we'll always pay the rent. But we don't want to cause lots of new debt. We don't want to be in debt to our landlords. So we have to have a discussion, a negotiation, and a conversation where we all take the pain and we all share in this situation.
That's good. Okay, let's move on to the next point. Um, Number fifth point: fix the hole in your pocket. What do you think about that? If the money comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. Would you
Yes.
advise? Is it a good time for businesses and individuals actually to look into wastages?
Yeah, it's a really good point. I had a great call yesterday with one of my clients who's a senior executive in an organization where they install offshore wind farms. And, they need to keep going. They're a key worker industry. We need the electricity to be produced. We need those turbines to be maintained. But workforce comes from all over the world and they fly in. And right now they can't fly in. So the suggestion was made, why don't we charter our own plane? And HR said, you have to be joking, it will cost a fortune. Once they looked into it and they organised it, and to cut a long story short, it was half the price to charter a plane than it was for all those people to buy their own individual tickets and submit expenses claims. Plus, the process in that organisation was huge for submitting expense claims, getting flights approved, and it was an industry in its own right. And the simple answer was one chartered plane is a simple solution. Saved a lot of duplication, a lot of time, and it actually saved the company money on contracts which are worth billions. And I think that's the same for all of us in business. We're used to doing things in a certain way. We're used to driving to clients to their meetings. We're used to paying for delivery. We've got lots of duplication and we've got lots of overheads in our business that we're having to strip back as much as possible right now. Yeah, I'm encouraging people. One of the first things I did in my household was we went through our standing orders and direct debits, and we had to cancel some payments that we were used to paying. I phoned up my electricity company, where I was paying £150 a month. They've put me on a new deal. I'm paying £100 a month.
That's
You
good.
know, it's everyone needs to be looking critically at their household and business expenditure and asking the question, could I get this reduced? It's amazing when you phone up BT or someone like that and say you're planning to move, all of a sudden they come up with this amazing deal that keeps you there. And I think we've got the time at home now. Get on the phone, start looking at
Call
your own.
BT, call Sky if you're on Sky, call your
Yeah,
phone company. All of them, they're
absolutely.
gonna give you some deal, isn't it?
Call them up, tell them you're leaving, and they'll soon sign you up to some cheaper deal. And it's amazing how much we can save and remove from the money going out of our bank accounts.
I lost you for a bit there.
Okay, sorry, am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
Okay,
Sorry about
super.
that. Maybe the internet. Of course, everyone is at home, so the internet is a little bit.
Everyone's on the internet.
Everyone is
It's
on the
creaking.
internet. Okay, we move on because we want to squeeze the best out of time. Listen, if you're watching online, you're watching Inspire, Equip, and Encourage with Simon Teague today, and we're just looking at ways to encourage people, especially those who are running businesses. But most of the principles we're talking about today, especially when we go into talking about season, because we believe this is a season, it applies to all of us. So don't. I'm a pastor. I won't call myself a businessman, but even though I do business, but still, we're doing this to help anyone. So if you're listening, I've been getting comments here, people saying this is great advice, and few others who are watching on different platforms. You're probably watching on Facebook. Some are watching on Facebook, some are watching on Twitter, and some are watching also on YouTube. So wherever you're watching, or maybe even on Favor House Church website, if you're watching this, just give us a thumbs up. Let us know that this is helping. We're trying to just help people, give business advices that could help one, make your life a better as well. Make sure that at the end of this season that you come out glorious, you come out better, not worse. Which is very, very important. So let's move on to the next point. Point number 6, Simon. Fix the holes in your pocket. We've talked about that, and then we say, is it a good time to scale up, especially marketing? You've been
Yeah.
doing something. Is it a good time to scale up? Is it a good time actually to think about scaling up your business, both whether it's marketing or the business itself? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think this one is a much more difficult question, because I think the longer this situation goes on, it was fair to say that quite a number of businesses, in fact, nearly every business, will become a startup all over again. I've got a client the phone yesterday. They run a plumbing and heating, with 18 engineers and office support and everything. And because they've had to self isolate some of the guys, they're down to about 5 engineers out in the field. Um, and right now, uh, sorry,
It's
yeah,
okay. Go on.
someone calling me.
Yeah.
Um, right now, that business is actually a much more lean and efficient business with 5 engineers than it was with 18.
Yes.
And it's making the business owner start to think about, when I come out of this, do I want to suddenly just go back to where I was,
Mm.
or do I want to start from a scaled down position?
Yeah.
Um, and from that scaled down position, then start to scale up.
Mm.
Or actually to say, you know what, from this scaled down position, I can now get the work life balance I've always looked for. I can earn the living that's sufficient, because I think we have got ourselves a little bit into the trap of,
Mm.
it's been a rat race in the
Mm.
UK. It's a rat race to work. It's a rat race in business. Many business owners have been working 50, 60, 70 hours a week.
Mm.
This is a wake up call. It's a huge wake up call for all of us.
Mm.
Do we really want to carry on at this rate? We
Mm.
realize how fragile we are. We've seen how this virus can take anyone, and it seems to be indiscriminate. And I
Mm.
think from that perspective, it's important that we take stock. I don't think we should necessarily say, "Oh, yes, let's have a scale up strategy." Let's take stock, and if that means scaling down and
Mm.
holding, or scaling down then scaling up, I think that is a very good, sensible approach. I have seen some, the typical marketeers will always say, scale up, grow, 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 go, go, go. Hang on a minute. Let's just stop a minute. The world is going to be different. What do we want our world to be like?
Mm.
Many businesses have been hugely profitable, but now they're looking at it and thinking, gosh, we do need to start giving back.
Mm.
What have we been giving to help people in the community?
Yes.
How have we been affecting the environment?
Mm.
How can we reduce our carbon footprint? How can we give back more? Because actually, life being so fragile, what do we want to be known for?
So would it be
What
sorry to
one?
interrupt you, but would it be then? It sounds to me like what you're saying is that it's not a kind of a binary or just a simple answer to this question. It's not just
Mm,
scale up right now. To some people,
yeah.
might need to scale up right now, but some other
Mm,
people probably they need to scale down. But scaling down
yeah.
doesn't mean lack of progress. It's actually scaling down so that I could progress. So the key thing here
Yes.
is about progression rather than
Yeah.
just scaling up or scaling down. It's about whether you're scaling up to progress or you're scaling down to progress. Is still the main thing, isn't it?
It absolutely is. I think this is a period of time when we're at home when we can start to take stock. I love these three questions. Yeah. And they're three lists, really. The first question is list down everything that you accomplished up until this point. What were all your accomplishments?
Mm,
Now turn the page over and list down what were all your disappointments.
mm,
Yeah, and when you, because we've got this reflective opportunity. What are our genuine disappointments, really? If
mm,
we'd have been taken by this virus, and what have we left behind? And would we say we're happy with that or we're disappointed with it?
yeah,
Create those two lists,
yeah,
and then look at those two lists side by side, if you can, not having flipped the paper over, but do them on two separate pieces of paper then.
yeah,
And look at those two lists and ask yourself the question, which is my third question: what are the lessons that I can learn from these two lists
yeah,
that will help me in the brave new world to come,
yeah,
in the new changes that we're going to see,
yes,
that will help me to live a better life, to make a better difference, a bigger difference.
yeah,
And one of the great things that you talked about, King, when we were together at the King's Summit,
yeah,
which was a very long time ago, but we talked about legacy.
yeah,
What legacy does each one of us want to leave behind on this planet?
yes,
And how can we make a difference to it? How can it be a better world when we leave than the world it was before we came?
yeah,
God has given us an amazing opportunity, and we should see that as an opportunity. If we're not one of those very, I can't even say the words, but someone in hospital right now who's suffering.
unfortunate, yeah,
And I pray for them and for their healing. And
yeah,
but ultimately, if we're fit and well, we need to take stock and we need to be saying, what legacy do I need to leave behind? How
yes,
can I change my business philosophy, my personal philosophy, my faith, and also, what do I want to be doing
yeah.
in to make a difference going forward?
And good you mentioned faith. For those of you who have faith, this is a good time to scale up, not scale down.
Yeah,
in
that's
the area,
true.
in
Yes.
the area of faith, we don't scale down now, you scale up, all
Oh,
the way
yes.
up.
Big
But if you have
time.
been panicking, maybe in the area of panic, you want to scale down, this is a time to rest in Christ. Trust God. Remember, He's got you covered. So if you're panicking, scale down. If you're too relaxed and thinking, no, scale up. You really need to not panic, but you need to scale up, have a larger heart, have a bigger faith than you have ever done before. But we're going to move on because I still have few points for Simon to cover. If you're watching us, you've just watched us for, who knows, we've been, wow, 42 minutes. Wow, we only have a few minutes to go. Thanks for joining us online. This is a stream clearly for those of us who are those of you who are doing businesses, but it's not limited to business because some of the principles we're talking about is needed in life. I mean, one of the advice Simon has given us is also in the area of rent and all those things. These are things that you need in your home. How do I prioritize? Seal up the holes in your pocket and all those things. And maybe I'm going to ask Simon one more question on one, and then we want to talk about for the last 15 or so minutes on this season, because this is a season. I want us to understand the characteristics of season and how we could take advantage of that. So, Simon, point number 7, is it a good time for businesses to stay hopeful and positive? What do you think? Or be pessimistic? What's your own take? Simon is a business coach. If you're watching this for the first time or you're just joining us, Simon is a brilliant business coach. He's got even up to, he's been busy. I managed to squeeze out 30 minutes an hour of his time to be able to do this stream. He is very busy. From 2 o'clock straight away, he's got about 30 companies that are just bombarding him with questions and help and support. So thank you so much for Simon for doing this. But
And
please,
we
on
did,
that point I've just asked you, could you
yeah,
just give us your view?
yeah. We didn't even know we were going to be wearing the same shirts, which is great. Um,
We didn't plan that, guys.
yeah.
It just happened.
Repeat the question. Sorry, King. It's gone out of my mind.
The question
A
is it
good
a
time
good
to be
time to be
optimistic.
hopeful for
Yes.
businesses? Is it a good time to be positive, or should they be pessimistic about maybe their
Yeah.
dealings and all those things, and maybe business,
Yes.
their future as well? So, what do you think?
Yes. Yes. I would say it is time for three things. It's time for them to be optimistic, realistic, and also to make a plan.
Yeah,
To really start.
how do you be optimistic and realistic? That's a very good point. Can you talk about that a
Okay.
little bit?
Yeah. So there's a very good model that I use for planning, which I would recommend every business get a piece of paper and create four boxes. And in the first box, they write the word strengths. In the second box at the top, they write the word weaknesses. In the third box, write the word opportunities. And in the fourth box, write the word threats. That is what's called a SWOT analysis.
Yeah,
SWOT. Um, you know, and I think in the realistic part is to look at all your weaknesses and all your threats.
yeah,
What are the real threats to our? The threats are that this thing comes back every year. How am I going to create a business that might operate in these seasons? That in a season where we need to be doing business online and we need to be doing business offline, perhaps, and be realistic when it comes to looking at your real weaknesses. Don't. What frustrates me is that the government has a SWOT analysis, and pandemics has been sitting in the threats box for over 20 years.
wow.
This
So they
isn't
have
new.
always had a plan, but they never really worked on it. They just didn't look
They,
at it.
they just wrote it in the threats box and did nothing with it in reality. And so I think when we're in, what I mean by realistic is establish the real risks to your business. What is going to get in your way of being successful? Where are you weak? What are the real threats? And really identify what they could be, and then have a very strong plan to deal with them.
Okay.
And then on the area of optimism, we switch over to the other side, which is to look at all the strengths and the opportunities that face your business, because there are opportunities.
Yeah.
And I'm speaking to business owners that spent 30 years building their business. They have an amazing business. And, just for me to tell them that on the phone, it's like a light bulb moment for them. There's someone saying, actually, do you know what? It sounds like you have a really amazing
They
business.
just need
We,
to hear it.
we just need to hear it. And we need to tell ourselves that. People were buying from you before this happened. Why were they buying from you? Why were they coming to you? Because they loved what you have. You have something very special. Hang on to that bit, you know. Lose all the stuff, the hole in the bucket stuff, yes, but all the good stuff,
Yes.
and promote that, and make sure other people are promoting you as well in that same way.
Before we go into the next point, I don't know, some of the things you talked about would have been from your book. Simon is an author of this book, wonderful book he called
Shameless plug.
Success. Secrets to Success. So I don't know if it's your book. We're not doing this for this reason, but I think if you care about it and you need to know more about leadership and business success, um, you want to check out the Ultimate Guide from Simon Teague. It's on Amazon, I believe. Your book is still on Amazon, isn't it?
It is king, but because it's COVID-19, if anybody wants a copy, if they let you know and they send their address, I
Wow.
will I will send them a free copy.
Wow, you just heard it live, not from me. That's from Simon. So if you're interested in Simon's book and you're a leader in the organization, especially those of you leading churches, if you're watching this and you want to know, this is actually a really good book to work with a team. So what Simon does is actually help organize companies and organize their teams, help them to have a vision, goal, set principles, and he has a planner. I don't have all the time; we're running out of time, but he has a planner that you could put on your table. You set it on the table, you go through it. It's really, really good. It's not just a book to read; it's actually a practical step for. It's called The Secret to Success. Let me just go full screen
Working
here.
business. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'll just caveat that by saying, one book each, and let's say the first 20 people that contact you, or something like that, because
Yeah.
if I suddenly get if I suddenly get 1,000, or I'm going to be here for a week just passing
You
them
will
up.
struggle if it comes up to 1,000 asking for it. Well, anyway, that wasn't planned in the stream, guys, so bear with me. Uh, so just moving on quick swiftly because have only 10 minutes, and I can see you guys are online. I see most of you are coming online and watching and say, I'm interested, please. So I've got a comment straight away from someone saying I'm interested. But of course, if you're interested, please go ahead and email me. My email, I'm not able at the moment, so I didn't plan this. I'm not able to drop it up there, but what it is just write down kingjames@sky.com. That's my name, kingjames@sky.com. So if you're a Christian, you know King James, the Bible. So just King James, then at sky, sky.com. So if you email me, I'll forward it to Simon. You want to email how you want to get it as well, because that's going to take some shipping costs. So again, the first 20, remember the first 20, not everyone, because that's going to take us a lot to go through. Simon, thank you for doing that. But as we move on from that, we want to talk, this is a season that we are all going through right now. Everyone in your home, you're going through the season, but you want to know that it's only a season. It's only what? A season. And there's are 5 characteristics of seasons, and I want Simon to just also make a comment on that as we run down this, also come towards the end of this. Point number 1 is a season gives birth to change. Seasons give birth to change. What do you think about that, Simon?
Yes. Just look at the natural seasons. Going from winter into spring
Yeah.
is that's a time I love. And then spring to summer, and even the autumn with all the different colours, and then we hunker down for winter. In some respects, maybe this is a winter season in that sense that we're hunkered down. But of course, there's change, and people say they don't like change, but we live in a world of change. Our situations change, our circumstances change, our environment changes.
Yeah.
It's fair to say that this is probably the biggest change and challenge the planet has ever seen.
Yeah.
But we are resilient. We're resilient and we're adaptable.
Yes.
And we need to stay. Don't panic.
Mm.
Don't panic. Stay resilient. Stay adaptable. Be a good example to your children. Be a
Mm.
good example to your peers. And be strong.
Yeah.
We will all get through this. We'll look back on this. This we'll be telling our children, our grandchildren, and all sorts about these days.
Okay. That's good. Thank you so much. So, point number 2, this is you're hearing it from Simon, but this is a very, very key thing for you to take note. It's only a season. It's only a season. But seasons, one of their characteristics is it brings changes. And God ordained seasons. One of the things he said, and you hear that if you want a biblical side of things, you want to check what God said to Noah in the book of Genesis, I believe chapter 8. He says, from this day onwards, when God flooded the earth, he now brought it back again, saved Noah, but he now made a decree and said, from this time onwards, the only thing that will govern this earth is seasons, basically. Seed time and harvest. You plant, you reap. So things, there will be night, there will be day. So we need to know that this is only a season, okay? It's not going to be forever. Moving on, point number 2 there is seasons are designed to brings hope. If there's a change, then if you're in a bad season, you've got to have hope because it's going to end. What do you think about that, Simon?
Yeah, I think if you take the Noah story that you've just told,
Yeah,
one of the things that God did was he put a rainbow in the sky
yeah,
to remind him and everyone that he would not take that same action again, that there would be hope, that there would be, it's a very positive thing. And when we all see a rainbow, it's a lovely sight. And, right now I was out walking the other evening and there's lots of rainbows appearing in people's windows.
yeah,
There's this picture of a rainbow saying, stay safe. And, we mustn't forget that we have some very brave people out there, the police, the fire brigade, certainly the nurses, doctors, and everybody that's volunteering to help look after the vulnerable and those people who are in hospital and been affected by this. They are going in, and they are going into the equivalent of a war zone, but they give me hope. They give me hope for there's amazing people on this earth. And I stood outside my house last night. I'm sure many of you did in the UK, as we applauded and clapped for the nurses and the carers,
Yeah.
and that is a sign of showing our gratitude, because gratitude and hope to me are very similar things.
Yes.
One is linked to the other.
That's very good. Okay, so we're going to move to the next point. Simon, sorry about if we're just we're running short of time now. Seasons are what? Temporal. That's another thing. Another character is kind of similar to what we say. It brings change. It brings hope. Okay. Seasons brings change. Seasons brings hope. I know most people can't see me right now, even though, because sometimes I forget to put myself up there. So it brings change, brings hope, and also it's temporal. So whatever you're going through right now I'm going to be a bit more serious, because we are serious here. But for you who's in the hospital right now, I just want you to be very hopeful. Okay, be very hopeful. Don't think that this will be the permanent decision. This will be the end of your life. So please, if you're watching me online, be very hopeful. Have faith. Trust that you're going to recover. Okay, just believe that this will not last forever. And for those of you who own businesses, you want to be hopeful. This is temporal. It is temporal. If you take some of the advices Simon have already dealt with, 7 points that we made earlier, apply it right now in this season. You will find that you will come out victorious rather than down. Simon, I'm going to move to the next point, and I want to hear your view on that. So the next one is seasons are always moving. What do you think about that, Simon? I say it's
Seasons.
always moving. For example, if a storm happens, people say
Yes.
we're kind of in the storm right now. Yeah, we
Mm.
in the middle of a storm, but storm never stops. Storm is
Mm.
constantly moving, so it's gonna just come and it's gonna go past you. So, what do you
Yes.
think about that idea?
Yes, it's interesting. I used that analogy this morning with another client, and about the storm, and that we are in a storm, and that we're battening down the hatches. And it's easy to captain a ship when it's calm weather, you
Yeah,
know, and the sea's flat and the sun is out, and you don't have to do a lot.
yeah,
But it's not easy to captain a ship in the middle of a raging storm.
yes,
We have to be captains of our ship,
yeah,
whether the ship is our home. We have to be the captain. We have to hold it all together and be strong for our wives, for our partners, for our children.
mm,
And the same too in business and in the workplace. Let's be the good captains,
mm,
to get through this stormy period, because it will pass over.
yes.
We'll move on.
All right, we have few minutes, few more, well, just about 2 minutes to come to a full hour's session. Thank you, Simon, for being here. But just two more points here. Number one is that the last one is that seasons is there to help us plan. What do you think about that, Simon?
Yes, you think about the farmers, and they're working hard right now in the fields. They haven't stopped. They're planting their crops. They're sowing their crops. It's all in the planning. And like I said before, what can we be doing in this moment to the 2 or 3 things that we could be doing now, planning for now, preparing for now, that will make a fourfold, fivefold difference
Mm,
to us when we come out the other end.
mm,
There's the analogy, isn't there, that when there's big change, or when there's danger, when we perceive danger, we do one of 3 things, and it's fight, flight, or freeze.
mm,
We either flight from it, we want to go and hide from it, we want to run away from it, but
mm,
unfortunately, there's nowhere to run in
mm,
this scenario. Um, and David it often kind of would run to a cave and hide, but at the end of the day, he couldn't stay there forever, and we're
yeah,
not going to stay in our homes forever.
yeah,
So the next thing then is we freeze. Well, when we're frozen, we're doing nothing, And we need to, this is our chance to wake up and come out of that freeze
Yeah.
mode and to fight. And we need to fight for our homes, fight for our jobs, fight for our businesses, fight for our country,
Yeah.
fight for our neighbours, fight for the vulnerable people. Let's stand up and fight, and let's, yeah, have that fighting spirit.
Well done, Simon. We've just hit that um, 2 o'clock mark. I don't know, we just lost you for a minute there. We just hit that 2 o'clock mark. It's just clocked an hour. Thanks for joining us, guys. I have three more points I'm just going to make, but these are three key wisdoms to take advantage of the seasons that you're in right now. But Simon, thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, I just want to mention these things you can see on the screen. Guys, outlast the season. Those who outlast the seasons are the ones, it's a key to life. And I don't
Yeah.
know if Simon, I'm going to give you the last word as well. I know we've just gone over the time, forgive me. But those who outlast the season are the people who actually, it's a very key to life. If you want to know, there's many examples of this. For example, what comes to mind is Mandela, right now, who outlasted his season, the season of storm that he had to be in a prison for 20 something years on. I think it was 27, but it was a season. But when he was there, it felt like it was going to be forever. But at the end of the day, he outlasted that season. And then guess what? It's a man that will always celebrate. We will always celebrate him. So I'm going to give Simon a chance to give a comment on this 3 point. The second point here is positively take advantage, make the most of the season that you're in. And the word here is positively. Okay? Key thing. What can you do right now? What can I do right now? Okay. That could be some of you, some of us to have fun with the family. And we've seen so many people doing that now. So many fathers who never used to play with their kids you've got no choice. But at least do it. Be positive about it. Just take advantage of the season that you're in right now. And final point, let the season change you. Don't go back to being the same old you. Let the seasons change you positively. This is very key. So, Simon, um, I'm going to give you the last word, and then we'll close the stream. What do you want to say?
Well, I'm so humbled and thankful that you've invited me, King, on this call. I really genuinely hope it's been of help to people. I have three P's to close with. And my three P's are play, plan, and prepare.
Mm,
So just to reiterate your points, play, you're at home, spend some time with your kids, with your family, take that opportunity. We might not ever get this golden opportunity in this way again. It's a luxury when we think how busy we've all been. Plan for the changes. Start thinking about what we could be doing that will make a difference to our futures,
mhm.
and then prepare and prepare well for them as well.
That's good, Simon. That's brilliant. Guys, thank you for watching. Simon, it's been awesome to have Simon here with us in this stream. But before, we're just going to say bye to all of you. Please, thanks for watching me. This time, I'm just going to give one or two quick information. I can see you guys are saying hi and hellos. Um, um, all there, but I had so much to cover with Simon, and I didn't get a chance to ask questions, deal with questions from the other platforms. But thank you for coming online. Next week, Friday, I have a guest as well. I have Pastor Robert Masbach on this show to inspire, equip, and encourage you. It will be Easter Friday, or what they call Good Friday.
Good
So
Friday.
Pastor Robert will be live. He would want to not just speak, but also pray for people specifically for your needs. So if you are a Christian and you have a need right now and you know someone who's sick, Pastor Robert will be happy to pray with you live online. So it will be important we direct the questions, and I'm going to mention your prayer point to him, and hopefully he will be able to just pray for you live there. But I'll be talking about all he knows. He's been a minister for many, many, many years. So anyway, I don't want to. I'll save it for later. But thank you so much, Simon, for coming with us, being here with us, and thank you, my friends who are watching right now. I just want to say, everyone, we love you. God loves you more. Just keep a positive mentality. Keep Be inspired, inspire others, be equipped, equip yourself right now and equip others, and encourage, be encouraged, and also be an encouragement to others. With that in mind, we just want to just leave you with this last statement from Winston Churchill. I don't know, Simon may not be able to see this, but Winston Churchill goes on to tell us that never, he says it this way, he says, never. Oh, my screen is going off. I can't do anything about it. Maybe you can't be able to see it. It says, never give in, never give in, never, 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 ever, in nothing, great or small, large or, or tiny or pretty, large or pretty, do not give in. That's an advice from Winston Churchill. So we just want to leave you with that. And thank you so much. Simon, again, last bye
Yeah.
to our viewers.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone. Thank
Bye,
you for joining.
everyone. Thanks for
See you
watching.
soon. Bye.
See you next week. Bye.